Ruby Frankie. If you don't know, this is a mom influencer slash YouTuber who had a good bit over 2 million subscribers. She would make content based around her children, her husband, her home, her family life, and was kind of known for her quote, uh, strict parenting, no nonsense, no funny business parenting style. Which now that all this has come out, because she has been arrested and charged with some sickening child abuse charges. Now we know it's not so much strict parenting as it is just plain, just awful, just abuse, downright abuse. Okay. Um, if you don't know, if you haven't been following, look into it. There's no shortage of videos right now about Ruby Frankie, what she did, and a lot of what she did, she even did on video and uploaded herself as content for her viewers to enjoy. You know, just kind of the messed up punishments and treatment of her kids in this household. So, one of the kids recently escaped from the bedroom from the house out a window and ran to a neighbor's house. He had, the neighbor, there's a awful, hard to listen to 911 call by this grown man calling the police, talking about how a little boy just showed up at his door. You can tell he's had tape. He's got tape around his ankles, tape around his wrists. He's got open wounds, lacerations where he'd been either, just bound so tight or just beaten. He's malnourished. He looks emaciated. He came to my door begging for food and for water. And it broke him down. It broke this grown man down into tears. He got choked up on the phone with the 911 operator, just trying to describe the condition of this young boy who had showed up at his door. And thank God he reached out to law enforcement, and this kind of whole thing blew up, and the mother was arrested, and now here we are. And so I think the one thing everybody's kind of curious about, what will really happen? We've all seen movies and TV shows. What's life really going to be like, assuming, and I feel pretty confident in saying I assume she will be found guilty, because listen, this is just flat out, hands down, the woman recorded and confessed to most of the stuff she did on camera in her videos, which she then edited and posted herself to her own channel for her millions of viewers and subscribers. So there's not really any denying what she did. So assuming she is found guilty and sentenced to some prison time, everybody wants to know, what will life be like for Ruby Frankie in prison? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you. And I already know someone's already in the comments typing, well, hey, jumpsuit Pablo, hold it, Buster. You did 10 years in a men's prison. What do you know about women's prison and what this woman is going to face from the other woman inmates in a woman's prison? Not exactly your area of expertise. Well, you're right, brother, sister, whatever. You're right. And that's why I reached out to a good friend and contact, Marci Marie Simmons. She is a former inmate, a woman who was sentenced to 20 years in the Texas prison system. And now she spends her time not only making content, but even more so advocating on behalf of inmates, more specifically women inmates out there in Texas, because, hey, that's where she's been, that's what she knows, and that's where she can best help. And just kind of fighting on behalf of these inmates who are being mistreated out there. So she knows her stuff. She's been there quite a while. She did just as much time as I did, but she did it in a women's prison. So let's hear it from the woman herself. What is Ruby Frankie in for if she goes to prison? So here's my first question for her, and her response to each of the questions I asked. I'll flash them on the screen just so you can read along with me, but I'll read them out loud too. The first question I asked is, it's Ruby Frankie. She's an influencer. She's a YouTuber. She's got a little bit of internet fame. Now, is that enough to make it to where she immediately goes into protective custody? Because if you're a true crime fanatic, if you follow a lot of cases that are in the news, when you have these big cases that are not only in the news, but I mean, you got people like Alec Murdoch and others, Lori Daybell, they get Netflix specials about them, and they're just kind of nationally covered. Is that enough? And not only that, Hollywood celebrities, they go to prison and they kind of automatically go to protective custody. Is her level of fame or also the nature of her charges, because hey, you can be an absolute nobody in a men's prison, but if you go there for some type of child related, the type of charges, a lot of prisons, they know they can't just put you with the other inmates. You'll get hurt. Okay, so they'll kind of automatically put you in protective custody just because of what your charges are. Does her status as a big multi-million subscriber YouTuber, or just the nature of her charges, or both, kind of, does that mean she's going to go straight to protective custody and stay there, or what? How does that work? And here was Marci's answer. Marci says, if she ends up with a prison sentence, I believe that there's a good chance she would be housed in protective custody, at least at the beginning of her sentence. We often see this with smaller or lesser known celebrities where they're housed in protective custody until the prison population kind of gets used to that name being there, and then they let them into the general population. And for the record, I agree. I think that's a great answer. And that's what I would suspect. Even, women's prison, men's prison, it always kind of goes that way. Yeah, these widely known people, they'll hold them in protective custody, and then the inmates, they're like, oh, they're here, so and so's here. Oh, that person that we saw on the news, yeah, they're here. Yeah, they got her right up there in protective custody right now. And then a month goes by, 2 months, 3 months goes by, and everyone knows, and it's old news. Nobody cares anymore. The heat dies down, and hey, whatever, right? At that point, yeah, they'll usually bring them into general population. Also because, and I've mentioned this before, there's only so much space in these protective custody parts of these prisons, whether it's men or women's. There's always a fresh rotation of inmates coming in, and a handful of them are always going to have some threat against them. They did this, they did that, or they messed up here, or they pissed off these people, and they need protective custody. And there's always a more urgent, or a more right now, right here, right then situation where something could happen to this person. And you know what? You've been up here a while. I hadn't heard anybody talk about how they want to get you. We're going to send you into general population. We need room. We need the space. We only got 12 cells up here, So she will kind of get cycled into the general population before too long. But yes, I'm sure she will start out in protective custody. So the next question I asked, again, going back to, when guys in men's prison, they come in with these charges against kids, and then you got the kind of molestation style, all that stuff being about just the sickos, those guys are dead men walking as far as what their charges are if they come into general population, right? Is it the same thing for Ruby Frankie, this child abuse? I mean, do the women, like, these women are mothers, a lot of them, it's, I don't know, maybe it's just my opinion, but I feel like they would really not, they would not like that, and I think that's what a lot of, the internet or everyone watching assumes too, so how true is that? How does it really work in there? Or are her charges, her specific charges, is that going to breed some hate amongst these inmates, these women inmates? Are they going to come after her? Is she in physical danger once she hits general population because of what she did? Here's what Marci had to say. She says, I don't believe she'll be in any physical danger from the other inmates while she's there. Women's prisons just operate a lot different than men's prisons. She might be ostracized a little bit and left out of certain groups, but definitely not in physical danger. If she gets into some kind of verbal altercation with another inmate, she'll probably be called out for her crime. That's a very interesting answer too. Like she says, it's different from men's prisons. It's probably a lot less violence there. And I've spoke with Marci before. We've done interviews about Lori Daybell. It seems that, yeah, as a human being, another inmate probably won't like what they did, but is that something that is just like, all right, no exceptions, zero tolerance, we got to go get her? No, it's not. And it seems like when physical violent altercations occur in these women's prisons, usually, every prison's different, but I'd say majority of women's prisons, when, and as she says, when altercations break out and they get violent, they get physical, usually they're for something that's more related to what's happened and is more relevant to something in that cell block between the inmates. It's not because of this or that happened outside of prison. It's, you did this, or you mouthed off, or you disrespected her in this way, or you sneezed on my biscuit, stuff. No, but stuff like that. And and so when, once something pops off, then yeah, the people who feel some kind of way, deep down on the low, they'll probably, they're going to use that as ammo when they're arguing, going, man, what? What? Oh, get out of my face, you child abuser. You know what I mean? Something more like that. So yeah, it'll probably get brought up, and I'm sure, a lot of women in there won't like it, but it's not enough to cause them to go out of their way to physically harm her for it. And hey, that makes sense, so that's some good insight from Marci. And then also I kind of asked real quick, what about the guards? They're supposed to be professional. They have a job to do. Guards usually don't get too involved in things, but if anything, what do you think will happen just from the guards? What are they going to think about what she did? Will they go out of their way to do anything or play any part in this? And, what happens there? Here's what Marci said. The staff is likely to be more hard on her because of her crime. Little things like not opening her cell door for chow or throwing her magazine in the trash at mail call. The staff can also get messy about people's charges, and they're likely to tell other inmates what she's there for. There will be whispers behind her back and that kind of thing. And that makes so much sense, and it, to us out here, maybe not us, not me and you, I've been there. Sorry. Yeah, I've been there. You haven't, loser. No, sorry. Yeah, I've been to prison. I'm just saying, I understand that these things may sound petty or small. Oh, they're going to throw my magazine in the trash. Oh, wow. No, no, no. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Listen, if people are looking forward to those magazines, they don't have anything. The little, these things that are like, it's a little thing. Oh, you're not going to open my cell door so I can't get these cold grits in the morning. Guess I got to wait till lunch, Yeah, you do. And that sucks because you're probably hungry. Yeah, they will throw your magazine in the trash when they got all the mail and they're calling people's mail out. Oh, Ruby Frankie got Martha Stewart Living magazine. Trash. You thought you were going to decorate your cell and get some inspiration from Martha? Nope. Trash. And you know what? That hurts because you don't have anything else. You're looking forward to that magazine. I promise you are, because I used to get People magazine and like some other magazine, and I used to look forward to it every week. And if I didn't get it, boy, I tell you, that hurt me. It did, all jokes aside. In prison, the little things become big things because and it affects your quality of life because the life quality in there already is so crappy. So yeah, I mean that can kind of suck big time for her. But there's that answer. To kind of end it off, I'll just tell you her kind of closing remark here to put a cap on it. She says, protective custody, which in essence is a lot like solitary confinement. True. We see a lot of child abuse and bad child crimes housed there because of their severe mental illnesses. While she's in protective custody, honestly, the officers probably won't even give her any grief because they've seen a lot worse than Ruby Frankie in her situation back there. That's pretty interesting, and that's something to think about. Food for thought there. So you heard it from Marci herself. She's a great person, great friend, always ready to help in any way she can and just contribute to any topic of discussion here. So all her links to her social medias I have in the description of this video below. So please go check her out and give her some support. She's a woman. She's been to women's prisons, and she's bringing something I can't. She's very realistic. She's not over the top. She doesn't embellish or glorify anything just for social media or clicks or views. She's very realistic. And, I like that style because I like to think that's kind of my style too. So great person. I always reach out to her anytime we have someone or a video topic involving women inmates or women prisons. So thank you to Marci for helping with this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it gave you your answers you're looking for, some insight, information, and as always, I will be back soon with another video.